When we talk about the downtown streetscape, we're really talking about the elements that make up the public spaces downtown. So we're looking at the lighting of the public spaces, the location of planters, benches, how we use the roadways in terms of parking, bicycle accommodations, the flow of traffic. So what this project does is it looks at all those elements and asks the question, are they being configured in a way that's best meeting today's demands downtown? We're at a stage right now in downtown with a lot of our streetscape amenities where items are starting to reach the end of their useful life or in need of significant maintenance. So before we invest a lot in the maintenance, we wanted to take a step back and really ask that question, are things configured the way that they need to be? Are there enhancements or improvements that we can make to the actual design before we invest a lot into the maintenance? So that's what this planning project's all about. It's about creating a vision for the downtown that will guide our future capital investments for the next 5 to 10 and hopefully 15 years. In addition to all those things above ground, there's a lot of public infrastructure below ground that we need to consider too. A lot of the water and a lot of the sewer lines are 30, 40, and in some cases, 50, 60, 70 years old. And we need to look at the condition of those and make sure that they're still meeting today's demand and that they have the capacity to meet tomorrow's demand. So we need to look at the development potential around the downtown and ask ourselves, do the underground utilities really lend themselves in their current shape and condition to meeting those demands? The other thing we want to make sure and do is to minimize disruption. So if we know that we need to go in and replace a water main in the next 3 or 4 years, we don't necessarily want to go and do our sidewalk improvements now. We'd like to marry those things together to minimize disruption to the business community and to the general public. So we have to look at both above and below ground elements, try to marry those improvements up, and that'll work into the phasing of the project. If you weren't able to attend the public meeting and you still want to offer your feedback, there's a couple ways to do so. First, you can always call the city manager's office in Iowa City or send an email to us and let us know your thoughts. The preferred method, though, would be that you visit our project website, which is www.inspiredowntownic.com. You can go and view some of the early preliminary concepts that were on display at the public meeting, and you can offer your feedback at that forum. You can vote on concepts that you like the best or suggest additional improvements. And that site is constantly refreshed and updated so that people can stay engaged. What we're doing at this stage with the public meeting is we're showing some very early preliminary concepts. Earlier this spring and summer we were doing some initial outreach and just getting people thoughts on the existing conditions. We've taken that feedback and now we have some preliminary design concepts. From here we want to get more public feedback and we'll continue to refine the plan as we get that feedback. We anticipate that we'll be back here in November with a revised set of plans that reflect the comments that we receive, and then we'll go through this exercise one more time, collect public feedback, and hopefully develop a final plan that we could present to the City Council in early 2014. Once the Council adopts the plan again in early 2014, then we'll start the implementation process, and that's got to go through a couple of other processes. We need to go through the budget process and see what kind of funding can be allocated to the project, and of course that puts this project in competition with a number of other needs and priorities throughout the city. So that's going to be something that goes on this winter, and from there we'll likely develop an implementation plan for the downtown streetscape project that may take several years to implement.
Well, we're feel very fortunate to be working here. It's an exciting community, it's a fun community. We've had the great pleasure of visiting Iowa City both during the day, at night, for special events. One of the unique attributes of Iowa City, not just relative to Iowa communities but to the Midwest, is its urban scale, and that's been something that's challenged us as we look at precedent for other communities and cities that have been successful and had similar challenges. We look at communities like Boulder, Colorado, Madison, Wisconsin, Ann Arbor, Michigan. So that's a very fun and exciting opportunity for us. Another aspect of that is really the history of Iowa City, and that's a layer in which is probably new to us from when we won the project. There's a lot of culture here. There's a lot of significant architecture, a lot of those layers which are beginning to surface and begin to shape the planning concepts that folks are going to be seeing tonight. In terms of what we've been hearing from the public to date, a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of encouragement. Folks are very interested, which always makes our job a little easier, and they're very interested in the details. A lot of things have been done very, very well here in Iowa City, and folks are, I think, in part interested to make sure that we're not changing the things that do work well. Some of the things that we're hearing most about, for example, would be the pedestrian mall entrances. Specifically the north entrance at Dubuque and Washington. There are some social concerns there. There are opportunities for a facelift on all the entrances, really. So a lot of concerns there, a lot of interest. We're also seeing a lot of, or hearing a lot of interest in Burlington Street and emphasis on pedestrian safety as some of the uses change on Burlington. So that's a big concern. They'd like to see that become as complete of a street as possible. One of the big concerns we've heard about from all stakeholders, from the business community to the public, is lighting. It's been a deferred maintenance issue across the city. We have 16 full city blocks in the pedestrian mall in which we're trying to blend the character or find a match for the lights to be implemented over time. We think there's some opportunities in changing out the current fixtures to LED to save dollars and improve energy efficiency. And there are a lot of opportunities with different layers of lighting, and that's something we're looking at specifically as the plan develops. And by layers of lighting, I mean festive lighting for events, for concerts in the Ped Mall, all the way to smaller scale ambient lights that could happen in the streetscape, and even possibly storefront lighting, which enhances that retail experience for visitors. What we've learned in looking at the pedestrian mall and the streetscapes throughout the downtown Iowa City is there are a lot of things that are really working well. We have all of the ingredients that go into making a great public space, a successful public space. And so the challenge becomes, how do you make minor modifications, small adjustments, tweaks, if you will, to what is working to enhance that environment without changing all of the finite details of what makes both the space work and comfortable for people, but what allows the pedestrian mall to be a functional, easily programmed space. For folks that show up to the public meeting tonight, it's really a snapshot of where we're at in the planning process, which is a midpoint, I would say, in terms of our idea development. It's very critical at this point, both through the website and the public meeting tonight, that we get solid input on the concepts that are developed. And folks that attend will see concepts ranging from a street-by-street analysis and perspective imagery of what we feel, how we feel the streets function today, but also what we feel those streets can become 2, 3, 5, 10 years down the road. We'd like input on our ideas there. You'll see a base, moderate, and aggressive street section for each of the 11 streets in the study area. The pedestrian mall is also featured with a series of ideas focused on key elements, ranging from lighting to the entrances or thresholds to the space, and into the core area of the Weather Dance Fountain. So we'd really like to get folks' opinion on those ideas and the character. It's not a refined plan at this time. It's a series of concepts for folks to react to, and then we'll take those reactions and feedback into the next stage of development to form those designs. Once we have the information tonight from the public meeting, we'll go back to the office and begin to catalog all of that, attempt to organize it. We hope that we see quite a few people, so it should be a lot of information. We'll take the information that we've received to date in the first public meeting, as well as all of the information received through the project website, and catalog that, take it back to the steering committee, balance that with their ideas, begin to form priorities. And our hope is over the next month we have a priority matrix on improvements, where folks would like to spend their dollars and what level of improvements will be made. So ultimately the design ideas that folks will see in November at the third public meeting will all tie back to what we hear from the public. So it's all about shaping the concepts at this stage. So it's really a critical time for folks to be vocal about their thoughts.
You're watching City Channel 4. On TV, online, on demand, on Facebook, and now on the go on your mobile device.